Hello and welcome. This is Out Motorsports. My name is Jake and this is the 2021 Nissan Armada. Nissan is working on refreshing and redoing many of the vehicles in their lineup, from their smallest cars all the way up to their big trucks and SUVs, and this is the biggest SUV that they sell. Now, this is only the second generation of Armada, but they've redone it for 2021 just a little bit. So let's get into what the Nissan Armada is, what's new with the Nissan Armada for 2021, and then let's talk about, as with any vehicle with a good tow rating, how the 2021 Armada is to tow a trailer. Now, before we get started, please take a second, subscribe to the channel, be sure to turn on that notification bell because we do have a lot more coming with new cars, old trucks, motorsports, you name it, we're doing it. So please take a second and subscribe. We really appreciate all the support. Now with that, onto the Armada. This is the second generation of the Armada. It's been around for quite some time, and usually you would think there's been a few more generations, but in this case there hasn't been. Nissan came out with the Armada for 2004, and it was based on the Nissan Titan pickup truck. That version of the Armada ran through 2016, and then they redid it, and this particular Armada is based on the Nissan Patrol, which is sold overseas as kind of a mix of a military vehicle or a very utilitarian, heavy-duty 4x4 sort of truck. So Nissan switched so that every Armada and Patrol rides on the same platform, and that is what we got starting in 2017. Now, interesting fact, the 2017 Armada that rides on the Patrol platform was not the first time we got the Patrol platform here in the States. Nissan's luxury brand Infiniti actually got the Patrol platform several years earlier in 2010 as the QX56, which is now sold as the QX80. So now the QX80 and this Armada are on the same platform. They are very, very similar for the sake of being more or less twins, although the Infiniti does offer a few options that make it the more luxurious of the two. In any case, this Armada came out for 2017, and for 2021, Nissan gave it a little bit of a nip and tuck. It's got new bumpers, new fascias front and rear. It's got an updated interior, especially in the center stack. It's got a single screen touch screen to replace the old two-screen setup, and it's now got wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. And there's a full suite of standard driver assistance technology, which Nissan calls Nissan Safety Shield 360. Those are the basic updates for 2021. The mechanical hardware of the Nissan Armada has not changed since 2017, with the exception of the engine. This is a 5.6-liter Endurance V8, which has been around for quite some time in various forms. And again, it's been in this truck since 2017. However, it makes 10 more horsepower and 19 more pound-feet of torque for 2021, for a total of 400 horsepower and 413 pound-feet of torque. That engine is paired to an optional four-wheel drive system. You can get the Armada as a two-wheel drive model. However, this Platinum model that I'm in has four-wheel drive. It runs in two-wheel drive normally. There's an automatic setting, or you can lock it into high and low. And then between the engine and those driven wheels is Nissan's 7-speed torque converter automatic transmission. Now, I mentioned this 2021 Armada is on that Nissan Patrol platform. All of these Armadas are built in Japan. However, the 5.6-liter Endurance V8 is actually built here in the United States in Tennessee. So where the entire vehicle used to be built in Tennessee, now it is built in Japan, but that engine still comes from Tennessee. As I get my enclosed trailer hooked up, let's talk about towing with this 2021 Nissan Armada Platinum. All Armadas have the same tow rating and drivetrain with the exception of two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. Regardless, every 2021 Armada is rated to pull 8,500 pounds with a maximum tongue weight of 850 pounds. Payload is remarkably high for a big SUV. As a reminder, payload includes the weight of you, any passengers, all your things, and the tongue weight on your hitch if you're towing. Nissan claims the maximum possible payload of an Armada is 1,634 pounds, and that is on a no-options two-wheel drive SV trim. My loaner here, as a four-wheel drive Platinum with a bunch of options on it, is rated for a little over 1,400 pounds, according to the sticker in the driver's door jamb. This is a great reminder to check the door jamb sticker of whichever Armada you are considering to verify its payload capacity. Every Armada also includes an auto-leveling rear air suspension, a built-in Tekonsha Prodigy P2 trailer brake controller, and a tow mode for the engine and transmission. Trailer sway control is optional. My enclosed trailer has a 20-foot box, 4-foot V-nose, and is 27 feet long in total with about an 8-foot height. I'm using weight distribution here to ensure both axles of the Armada are properly loaded, which is generally recommended if you're towing above 50% of a vehicle's rated capacity. Now we're all hooked up, so let's get going. All right, so towing with the 2021 Nissan Armada Platinum. Like I said, every 2021 Armada comes with the same suspension setup, the same drivetrain setup, which is kind of nice because you don't have to worry about the trim level you get other than if you want two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. So for power, you've got this 5.6 liter Endurance V8, and like I mentioned, it is making more power and torque this year than it did in years past, but not by a whole lot. It's making 400 horsepower and 413 pound-feet of torque. And truthfully, I think that's plenty. I don't necessarily wish that this truck made more power or torque, although I do wish that it made some of it a little bit lower in the revs. You do have to wind it out a little bit to get to the max torque and power peaks that both come in around 4,500 to 5,000 RPM. So you do have to work it a little hard, but that's kind of the case with any naturally aspirated gasoline engine. You're just gonna have to push it, but don't feel bad doing it. The 5.6 has a pretty good reputation for durability. So I think it's a good drivetrain that Nissan has in here. And as far as pulling out and accelerating, you can stand on it. And it will move out with some decent authority. Granted, I'm on a flat road here, but as long as you're not afraid to wind it out, even going up hills, it will pull you up the hills with no problem. In part thanks to the ratios of the 7-speed automatic here. It is possible to catch this thing a little bit flat-footed off and on, but that's just really dependent on the road speed. I caught it one time with my foot hard in the carpet and it was in second. It couldn't go down to first again, but that can happen with any transmission. For the most part, the 7-speed works really nicely. And of course, if you want to shift it manually, you can pop this selector over to the left and you can push it forward to upshift and pull it toward you for downshifts. Now, as far as handling is concerned, with the Armada and a trailer hooked up, I have to say I find the Armada, even unloaded, to be really soft, especially in the rear. You can feel the suspension is just on the softer end of things. They're doing that for the sake of ride comfort, and also I suspect, given, like I said, this thing starts life as a Nissan Patrol, which is intended to be at least somewhat of a decent off-roader overseas, it's probably all tuned just a little more softly than you might get from some other competitors. So I think that does potentially work against it. You can feel it porpoise a little bit. I am using weight distribution today. I took the trailer out yesterday and tried it briefly without weight distribution, and I would not recommend it. You really need to have this thing set up right. This is not like a larger pickup truck that's got more capability and capacity where you can just kind of throw things down on the hitch and ignore how it's set up. You do need to be mindful of your weights, especially your tongue weight. Now, this does have that self-leveling rear suspension, which seems to be working. I can hear the compressor working, but it doesn't seem to load level that much. So again, you really want to make sure you're using weight distribution, because even when you have that self-leveling, that is not a replacement for weight distribution. Now, once I have weight distribution set up like I do today, driving this at highway speeds, no real sway to worry about. On these back roads where you've got some curves, you do have to be mindful of your speed. Obviously, don't enter a curve too hot, but it does feel fairly good and easy to control, although, like I said, it does want to porpoise a little bit front to rear, which I just don't love. Now, as far as slowing everything down, there is a tow mode over here by the four-wheel drive selector knob, and that will both work for you with the transmission on upshifts. It will hold the upshifts longer to help you make more power, and then it will also work with you when you are slowing down or going down a hill. It's got some really good downshift logic, truly the only other downshift logic that I've seen that was so good in other trucks and large SUVs is Ford's, and it will downshift the truck to help you engine brake and not have to use your brakes and your trailer brakes nearly as much, and it works really, really well. The braking in general is pretty well controlled, and I think the Armada has plenty of brake for a trailer like this. You can tell that Nissan did do their homework because they wanted to rate this thing for 8,500 pounds with all that tongue weight, so obviously you have to have good brakes to slow it all down. And I do appreciate having the built-in trailer brake controller. I think it's a little amusing that it's just a Tekonsha Prodigy unit that they shoved in the dash down here, but it works really well, and again, it's nice to have it tied into all the truck's stability and braking systems for the sake of a little bit finer control everywhere. The other nice thing that's worth mentioning, you can see I'm on some tighter back roads just for the sake of seeing how this trailer handles behind the Armada. The Armada is a shorter vehicle. It's, like I said, similar in size to a Tahoe, an Expedition, a Sequoia, and it's got that 121-inch wheelbase. I do think the steering feels kind of slow in that it takes a lot of turns one way or the other to get the wheels to actually move however far you want, but that kind of lends itself to a really easily controllable feel when you've got the trailer hooked up. And whether you're hooked up or not, it feels like this truck has a really tight turning radius. It's easy to get it to maneuver in tight spaces. So on these back roads, I feel pretty confident getting around because the truck itself is fairly short compared to a Suburban, a Titan, things like that. It also just feels nice and maneuverable. And the steering is a decent ratio when you are on the move, but at parking lot speeds, you'll notice it feels very slow. I think it's a good drivetrain. I think overall this is a pretty good truck for the sake of, you know, hauling a bunch of people and things, having a big locked box versus a pickup truck if that's more your style. Granted, would I go any longer than the trailer I have behind me? Like I said, mine is a 20-foot box, a 4-foot V-nose, and overall it's 27 feet from the hitch ball to the taillights. No, I would not go bigger than that. This is still a fairly soft SUV as far as large SUVs that can tow are concerned, and you just don't want to have that huge sail in the wind. So I'm sure some people are going to try and do a 24, 28-foot trailer plus the hitch length and everything, and I really wouldn't. I don't think it's the best idea. I think what I've got is the biggest you would realistically want to put on the back of one of these. If you have an open, you're not going to have as much wind resistance, so sure, put something a little bit longer on it and it'll probably be fine. And also if you've got a boat, boats are usually a little bit easier than a full enclosed trailer to pull, just for the sake of how they get pushed around or not by the wind coming at you from the side. All right, and that is it for this towing review of the 2021 Nissan Armada Platinum. Thank you so much for coming along today. As always, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and give us a follow on our other social, Facebook and Instagram at Out Motorsports. If you'd like to join the growing community of connected LGBT automotive enthusiasts and motorsports competitors and a bunch of our friends, please head over to outmotorsports.com. We would love to have you over there as well. Till next time, please stay safe, be well, and we'll see you again soon.